for people who
Like
don't know what the dark web is it's a decentralized form of the internet. So as opposed to right now, right, the internet runs off of servers and Google connects indexes, and that's how you see web pages and you can do search results. But there is a side of the internet that runs off of essentially people's computers is what runs it, connected peer to peer. And there's a whole bunch of stuff associated with it. There's a lot of good YouTube videos out there if you really want to learn about the dark web. But it's essentially the internet that you can't find through Google. It's web pages, and of course, with being removed from the public eye and being essentially, the dark web a secret, what goes on there: drug trafficking, human trafficking, buying guns, hitmen, drugs, anything that like the worst thing that you can think of, someone else out there also has had that thought and has tried turning it into a way to make money on the dark web, essentially, right? So like the amount of like things that you can buy and arrange and see on the dark web is astronomical. But you ask the average American, like, if they know what the dark web is, and like they might now, right, with these videos like the dark web video or these video games about the dark web, right? People are now have a more, are maybe aware of it, but they don't really understand what it is, right?
Yeah, I think that when they shut down what was it, the Silk Road? I think that was probably the peak of people understanding what was the dark web,
the Silk
because
Road,
that was
people don't know, that's where you could buy and sell drugs on the dark web, stuff like heroin, cocaine, anything you can imagine.
So I actually, my laptop that's right there, that was actually my first laptop, and literally went on the dark web at that point, literally Silk Road, and I was young. I think I got that laptop in 6th grade, so I was like 8th grade.
Right.
And stumbled upon, aka just Curious Anthony, and you could buy anything. Like, you could buy any whatever substances you wanted to buy. You could buy hitmans. You could buy illegal IDs. You can buy
anything,
literally anything. They even they would have people that they would post. And to give an idea, when you go to these like websites that are like this, they're basically like the structure of a Reddit, of like an eBay. Like, they literally have like search engines, but everything's private. Like, nobody follows anybody. Like, you're all like private information, so nobody's exchanging anything. And you can have a request. So you can literally find somebody that says, I kill people, and you can say, hey, I want to bomb this building, and they can literally type it in, and they will find somebody that does that, and then you can hire them. Like, that's how crazy dark web is. And also, it's
what's really like amplified the power, right? So before so when the dark web originally came about or was being used and stuff, right, you had these agencies like the CIA, FBI posing on there, trying to do stings, these types of things, and it was a lot easier because, right, when you're going to pay a hitman, when you're going to pay a hitman, right, there's a money trail, right? That's a lot of the times how they solve these things is they follow the money. Whatever movie you've seen, follow the money trail, right? Yeah. Follow the money. So they could follow the money back, and it's really, really hard to cover your tracks against the FBI and the CIA when they're trying to follow your money for, XYZ crime or potentially prevent one. But with the just absolute like rapid implementation and growth of cryptocurrency, that came about because of the dark web, right? Everyone knows what Bitcoin is now, right? 5-10 years ago, no one had any idea what it was. And so like people are at least aware of what Bitcoin is. It's some sort of money, right? It's crypto, money in the cloud or whatever. People might understand what Bitcoin is. But why about Bitcoin is because of the anonymity that's involved with Bitcoin. And so for people who aren't super familiar with cryptocurrency or Bitcoin essentially allows me to spend 10,000 US dollars and get however many Bitcoin that is. So back in the day, that was quite a few Bitcoin. So I have these Bitcoin, and they're stored at this anonymous address that only I know, and it's my wallet. And when I want to buy something, someone else, they give me their Bitcoin wallet and we transfer, right? But there's nothing attached to these transfers. They're not traceable. It's all like, it's all like super heavily encrypted. So essentially it's
it's also, so it's basically, it's like, it's a ledger. So it's like you have, think of it as like person A buying from person B. and that transaction goes through, but based on this ID. And then what happens is then people hear about mining. Like these people make money mining, and all it is they're basically validating the ledger. That's literally what they do. Is they're
Doing
saying,
math.
oh, yep, that transaction's right. This transaction's right. This transaction's right, and that's what mining is.
Right.
And
the end
I have
result
to interject here.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is extremely traceable, and illegal things are bought through Monero, which is an untraceable cryptocurrency. Quote, untraceable.
My fridge, which is right here.
Yep. But yeah, Bitcoin.
Well, it's a public ledger, right? And so it's not necessarily that you can see just straight from the transaction on the ledger, but by doing there are things you can do to essentially figure out, right? You can figure out at the time and these types of things to trace stuff back. But with Bitcoin, what it brought about, right, a lot of this stuff, and then it's enabled cryptocurrency to explode even more, and other things like what you're talking about, an actually untraceable cryptocurrency. But
yeah,
this was all fertilized and catapulted by Bitcoin and how much it exploded on the dark web. Correct me if I'm wrong on that lyric.
Yep, you're absolutely correct. Okay. I'd say that I used to go to a bunch of meetups, crypto related, and since I was in DC, a lot of government officials would go to it, and I've talked to like Secret Service members, and they'd be like, they would love for people to interact illegally on Bitcoin because it's so traceable. Every transaction is on the ledger, and if you compare that to the USD, which is the most illicit used funds in the world, because you can't technically trace like a $20 bill.
Right. You're using all these outside methods to figure it out, essentially.
But yeah, it did basically create the stepping stones to create the private and untraceable currencies.
Right.
Yeah. Then you also had like other uses. Like I remember I was trading crypto in probably 2011, playing CS. Like that was probably the first time because I was trading skins. Like I was playing CS real heavily.
Right.
And you can use that as currency. Like you can just, and because there's no way of being able to give a charge back. Like somebody gives you those funds, that's yours.
Yep.
You just do the right thing to give them the actual the virtual item that you're trading with them. So
yeah, it's still used to buy gold in games right now because of that. No asking you like cashback. Yep. On eBay. Not eBay. PayPal.
And this is I'm gonna say something, and it's something that you'll ask anybody and their mom, and they have the same story, or they'll claim to. But back when I was in high school, and I was messing around on a school laptop, and I started to learn about the dark web, and of course I'm like you, I'm messing around in there. I'm my curiosity, you can't help it, dude. You gotta look, you gotta see what's out there. But I remember that I bought. Or I found about this cryptocurrency, or I found Bitcoin. I was like, what's Bitcoin? I was looking into it, and I ended up through I did something. I was like, I watched like some ads or something, and I got like half a Bitcoin. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I got another half a Bitcoin, and then I started I was doing different like trades and like these types of stuff until I had a sizable. I had like 100, 200 Bitcoin, but it was almost completely useless, right? Back then, like you could have 100, 200 Bitcoin, and it was worth almost nothing. You had people with thousands of Bitcoin, because it had Bitcoin is essentially the same as really like technically gold, right? It has as much value as people are willing to put in it, or just currency in general, right? It's the whole idea that that you're trusting that technically paper has no value. It's just the fact that the government is saying it's worth this much, right? No matter what, right? It's worth that much. But it really is just that like gold has as much value as people are willing to put into it. And it's the same with Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin is worth as much as people want to make it worth, and also as it becomes scarcer and scarcer. So here's the thing about, at a certain point, all the Bitcoin will be mined. So
isn't that next year?
Is it next year? I'm not sure when it is, but for people,
every 4 years it halves on block rewards.
Right. That has a half-life essentially, but there will be a point in time where there are no more Bitcoin generated, right? So at the beginning, when you first got in, you were just getting Bitcoin all the time. It was insane. Nowadays, it's incredibly rare to get a Bitcoin, and often it's a pool of, and so everybody gets a little piece of a Bitcoin and all this stuff. But essentially, this to say that like as it's mined more and more, it becomes scarcer and scarcer, and that helps tend to give it more and more value. And really, crypto, could technically crash because it actually has no backing besides the backing that people want to give it. And that's what makes it, quote unquote scary, is that, that, and it's not federally regulated. So if you put all your money in it and you lose it, like there's these laws are inventing and stuff, but laws are slow to catch up to tech advancements in general.